Hi, welcome back to episode 2 of Training Your Cat. So last week, this is my friend Ricky. She worked with me last week as well. We talked about the very first steps that you're going to want to work on with your cat when you decide that you want to start training them to do some fun things. So last week, we talked about charging our clicker. So when we work with our cats, it is generally easiest for them and for us when we're teaching them new skills to use a clicker or a marker. Now, if you go back to the previous episode, we're going to talk you through the process of charging that clicker and starting to utilize that so you can train with it. So just as a brief review, the clicker means you did the right thing. Yes, that was what I wanted. So when we first started working with that clicker, all we did was click and hand our cat a reward to get them used to the idea that the click means good things are coming. So when you set up to train your cat, make sure that you are working on a surface that obviously is easy for you to reach, but also a space that you actually want your cat to be on. One of the challenges a lot of us have is that our cats tend to help themselves to certain areas that we prefer they wouldn't be, like our kitchen table or our kitchen counters. So when you're working with your cat, make sure that you pick a spot that you would like them to be, someplace that you really want them to enjoy being. So she is on my ottoman right now, occasionally also functions as a coffee table. But for the sake of what we're working on, we're going to call it an ottoman. This is a space that she is allowed to be on. So the more good things that happen on this space, the more likely she is to want to be on this space. So just like last week, I have my treats ready. I also have my clicker ready to go. You can see she found where my treats are hiding. They are in a little container with a lid for right now. So after we looked at charging our clicker, we also talked about building a hand target, which means tag my hand with your nose. So at this time, I would like her to come back into this space, and I'm going to see if she'll target for me. There's our first little target. I didn't think she was going to be able to get there all at once, so you noticed I targeted her about halfway there. So again, I want her to stay on in this space, so I'm trying to reward her on this space to encourage her to be here. So again, I also am going to note, I would encourage you to drop the treats on whatever surface you're working on, rather than try and hand these treats for your cat with their very sharp little kitty cat teeth. So we're going to look at a high five today. And when we work with our marker, what we're trying to do is help our cat figure out what we're looking for by offering a number of behaviors. So I clicked in that moment because she picked up her paw. And I can start to put my hand vertical. There we go. Now with my hand target, I tend to put my fingers down so they can recognize the difference between fingers up, there we go, and fingers down. So when she lifts her paw towards my hand, all I do is click and then deliver that reward. That's my way of saying that's what I wanted. So at first, you might just be rewarding your cat for lifting a paw, even if they don't make it all the way here at first. And that's totally okay. Our clicker allows us to tell them, to help them work in baby steps and let them know they're moving in the right direction. Think of it as a game of hot and cold. We just don't worry about the cold part. We let our cat know you're getting warmer. So there we are again, lift the paw, click, and reward. So because I'm always presenting my hand the same way when I'm waiting for this behavior, this will actually turn into my cue for this behavior, the way that I ask for a high five. So if that works too. And notice I'm not asking her to lick my hands, not exactly what I want, but we don't worry about telling them when they're not doing the right thing, we just kind of let that ride and wait for them to do what we ask. She hopped down because I dropped a treat, so this is a great opportunity for me to use that hand target again to invite her back up where I want her to be and hand a reward. So once again, I can put my hand up, see if she'll lift her paw. We just ignore the licking or the other things that we don't want. There it is. Good. She lifts her paw. I can click, hand the reward on the table. And again, notice that the reward is always coming from the table so that she is being encouraged and rewarded to be in this space when we're practicing our skills. And once again, I can use my hand target and invite her to come back up. I did smooch a little bit that time, tiny little kissy sound to see if I could get her attention first. And when I did, she saw my hand, jumped up to tag that for me. All right. Now my other cat rather does know how to high five. This is a new skill for her, but she is taking to it pretty quickly. See if we can get one more of these high fives. What do you think? She hears our other cat. She's just gotten quite distracted. Vicky. He is reaching underneath the door behind us, wanting to be involved in whatever it is that we're doing. So we might be finished with this training session. We'll see. I'll see if I can get one more, if at all possible. We do try and end on a good note whenever we can. But if she's going to be too distracted to move on, then we can just end this training session here. Maybe end with something real simple, like a hand target. She's making a liar out of me. There we go. And notice the difference between my hand target and my high five was having my fingers down. One more. There we go. Good end to a training session. So she did a great job. We only worked for just a few minutes, ended on a great note, and then we're going to stop that training session there. So that's episode 2 of Training Your Cat.